Good afternoon, everyone, especially to you po, ma'am. So, we are the last group, the group 7, that we're going to discuss the last topic, which entitled Working in Different Parts of the World. So, in this video, together with my group mates, we will be discussing the following objectives: define the global work in globalizations, reasons why people work in abroad, explain the different types of global work, understand international and labor institutions, and recognize the importance of international business, determine the benefits and challenges of working abroad, and lastly, describe the geography, political and economic system, populations, and workforce characteristics of selected countries around the world. So to begin with, the globalizations is refers to the close integrations of countries and people around the world. Meaning, tungkol sa globalizations, ang business are no longer limited within one company or country rather. So they can operate internationally. And on the other hand, ang globalizations is promotes also economic growth, better jobs opportunity, and higher standard of living. And it also raises concerns such as low wages, inequality, and exploitations of workers, especially sa mga developing countries. So, as shown in the diagram, the globalization is connected to many factors, which these factors directly influence of how people work different in parts of the world. So this shows that ang globalization is not just only an idea but a combinations of many connected factors that affect how countries, business, and people interact. So first is the technology. So the technology is one of the biggest drivers of globalizations because of internet, and people can communicate instantly, and business can operate online, and the employees can even work remotely from different countries. Example ana is ang US, makahire sila og mga virtual assistant from the Philippines. So, kaduha is ang shrinking world. This means na ang world feels smaller kay tungod sa travel and communication mas paspas ug mas easy siya. Like for example, ana is ang you can message someone across the world in seconds or travel internationally in just an hours. Napod dira ang gitawag na free trade. The free trade is it allows countries to buy and sell of goods with fewer restrictions. So their effect is more product is become more available globally. But however, local business may face stronger competitions. Another thing is ang tawag na culture. In globalizations, culture spread across countries. Like for example, ana is ang mga Korean pop culture, mga American movies, or mga Japanese anime. Mo na sila ang mga popular na mga culture worldwide. However, this can also leads to the loss of local traditions. Pareha na to mga Pinoy hilig kay ta sa mga foreign na mga movies, mas ginapatangkilik pa na to ang mga sa foreign rather than sa atua. Another thing ana is ang capitalism. The capitalism is refers to an economic system wherein ang business mag-aim og make profit. Meaning, ang effect ana niya is ang company maka-expand siya globally to earn more and creating a job but also increasing competitions. Another is ang gitawag og outsourcing. Ang outsourcing is ang company can hire workers from other different countries kay para mas makareduce sila og cost, and aside ana is mangita sila og mga skillful na mga workers which fits to their companies. Another is ang gitawag og kanang like for example ana is ang call centers. Ang mga call centers diri sa Philippines is kanang gina-hire sila sa let's just say sa America kay para mo serve sa foreign companies. Another is ang inequality and equality. In globalizations can create a gap between sa rich or poor countries, meaning ang mga developed countries or mga undeveloped countries. Ang effect na is ang developed countries may maka-benefit sila og more, pero ang while ang developing countries may face low wages. Another thing is ang exploitations. So some companies gina take advantage nila ang cheap labor in poorer countries kay mas maka dako sila og kanang mas dako sila profit kung ang ilahang buhaton di makatake sila advantage sa labor if dira nila buhaton sa undeveloped countries or sa poorer na countries, like for example ana ang workers being unpaid or working in poor conditions. And another is ang trade versus aid countries. It can be mutual or exchange goods and services. Ang give aid is para matabangan pud nila ang mga poor countries. Meaning ang trade is often more sustainable than aid in a long term. Another is ang brand global. Ang brand is ang to make it more or become more popular worldwide. Example ana kay ang mga fast food chains, clothing brands or ang kanang tech companies operating sa globally. And another thing issues is ang tawag tourism, environment, monopoly power. Globalization has also risk ang faster spread sa global issues like terrorism, environmental damage due to the industrialization's large companies which gaining too much power. So overall, the different limits of countries such as technology, free trade, outsourcing, etc. work together para i-shape nila how people work across the countries. So these factors creates more opportunities for global employment, but they also introduce challenges like exploitations, inequality, which directly impact on working conditions in different parts of the world. Next is the global labor market. What does it mean? So the global labor market refers to the worldwide pool of workers and employers. This refers between the workers and the employers. So, because of globalizations, ang companies in different countries can hire employees from different countries depende sa ilahang kinahanglan or their needs. So, there are two main reason nga ang companies ginabuhat nila. Una is ang ginatawag na market seeking, which a company move workers closer to their customer. So that's why ang nag-hire na sila og mga employees from different countries kay para katong mga workers maka meet sila og mga daghang mga customer dito sa ilahang gi hire na mga country. Kaduha is ang gitawag na efficiency seeking. Ang companies can look mo ni siya ang companies look for a lower labor cost or specialized skills. So mangita sila og country nga which wherein makatipid or makita sila og mas lower labor cost kay para mas dako ang ilang na profit or mga ma-specialize na ang mga skills. Ang example ani is many companies nag-hire mga IT professional gikan sa India or naga-set up sila mga manufacturing buhatanan sa Southeast Asia kay para mas ma-reduce ang cost. So overall, ang global labor market, it allows the companies to hire workers from different countries based sa ilang skills and cost efficiency. So this creates more jobs opportunities worldwide, but it also increases competitions among workers. So as a result, people working in different parts of the world must continuously adapt and improve their skills to stay competitive. On to the main topic of these discussions, which are working in different parts of the world. So for this part is about working in different parts of the world. This refers to the employment across the different countries wherein ang individuals interact with various cultures, legal system, and economic environment. So, ibig sabihin na kung matrabaho ka abroad, di lang kay trabaho ang imong gina-adjust. Also, mag-adjust ka sa ilang culture, sa ilang balaod, or ang ilang way of living sa isang bansa. And according to the Bay, and Scott, international business activities require workers to adapt to different workplace practices and global standard. So, overall, working in different parts of the world requires siya flexibility, adaptability, and understanding of cultural differences. Dili na kay kung motrabaho kag abroad, dapat na kay flexibility ka, kabalo ka mo respeto kung unsa ang cultures ana na bansa, dapat mo follow ka sa ilahang balaod, and also ubaga ba, ina-adapt nimo ang ilahang culture para mas mapadali nimo nga makabalo ka sa imong trabaho, and also you are flexible when it comes sa ilahang cultures, ilang traditions, sa ilang laws, or sa ilahang kung unsa ilang paagi sa ilahang panimuyo, or their different cultural differences, para dili ka ma-ignore, ma-aware ka sa imong dapat buhaton. So next is the permits and the visa. So how these permits and visas are important kung matrabaho ka or working in different countries, or even matrabaho ka abroad outside the country. So the permits and visas are very important when working another country. Kaya ang work permit is mo ni siya ang legal document na gina-issue sa government para i-allows niya ang foreign workers to be employed in that country. Pasabot ani nga maski nakasulod na ka ana ang bansa or nakatrabaho na ka dira, kailangan gihapon nimo mokuha og kanang work permit para makatrabaho ka legally ug di ka mahimong illegal. So while ang visa is mo ni siya ang permissions that allows a person to enter, stay, or leave a country. Ibig sabihin na naapoy iba't ibang type ang kanang visa, like tourist visa, student visa, or work visa. So depende sa purpose nimo sa imong visit. So in simple term, ang kani visa is for entry ni siya or kanang magstay ka na country, while ang work permit is specifically ni siya for working legally para dili ka matawag na illegal dira. So these documents are important ni siya because i-ensure niya that both of workers employers are following the laws of the country. So kung possible na kung wala mo nag-follow sa rules and or laws sa isa country, pwede nga madaot na ikaw employer pwede ka madaot nga no wala nimo siya gikuan og kanang visa, or ikaw nga worker pwede pug ka madakpan sa country ana if wala nimo gifalo ang ilahapong balaod. So without these documents, ang person cannot legally work abroad and may face penalties like fines, deportation. So mo bitaw nga daghang hitabo nga i-deport, ibalik na lang tungod sa nahimo ng illegal, wala na di na illegal ang ilahang documents, or maban sila from re-entering the country, or di na sila maban sa di na sa kabalik. So example ana is sa work permits o visas that is used in difference. First is ang kanang tawag na H-1B visa in the United States. So kana siya nga types of visa allows the US companies para mo-hire sila of foreign workers temporarily, especially those specialized skills such as IT, kanang mga IT, kanang mga engineering, or kanang healthcare. So ibig sabihin na kung naka-specific skills na kailangan sa isa ka kumpanya, pwede ka nila i-hire maski asa pa kagikan na country, as long as qualified ka sa ana nga visa. Ikaduha is kanang gitawag na EU Blue Card in European Union. So this is a work and residence permit to highly skilled non EU citizens, meaning kanang kuan lang ni siya kanang gihatag lang ni siya sa kanang non-citizens na kanang highly skilled gani. Then it allows ni siya kani siya na visa is it allows ni siya para to live and work in European countries, so particularly sa mga professional fields like engineering, mga research and technology. So makita na to nga bawat bansa na adyo na sila kanang makita na sariling kanang requirements and programs para makakuha sila og foreign workers, especially kung taas ang skills na or taas ilang qualifications na ginapangita or kailangan nila. So that's why nag-hire jud sila or naghatag jud sila ana mga kanang special na kaon like visa para makapuyo ka makastay ka dira, especially kung highly skilled ka nga uh, or professional ka hawd ka ilahat jud kang hanang hatagan og specialized na kanang mga visas. So this shows na ang working in different parts of the world is dili siya about finding job but also meeting the qualifications and requirements set by each country. So it's inevitable jud na ang bawat country nagaset jud na sila og mga legal requirements para ikaw pud na workers is mahimo kang legal og dili magka problema ang imong pagtrabaho on working abroad. So that would be all. The next will be discussed by Miss Kapin.
Good day, ma'am. Today, I am discussing a key aspect of international business trade, the primary reason why individuals choose to work in different parts of the world. Global mobility is a major driver of the modern economy. First, let's look at career opportunities and prospects. Often, a professional's home country may have a saturated market for their specific expertise. By moving abroad, workers can find a higher demand for their unique skill sets and access roles that simply aren't available locally. This isn't just about finding a job, it's about faster career advancement and reaching higher tiers of management that exist in global hubs. The second reason is perhaps the most common: higher salaries and financial stability. Working in a stranger economy can offer significantly higher income levels, especially for skilled workers in tech, healthcare, or engineering. For many, this move provides the financial cushion needed to support families back home or to achieve personal financial goals much faster than they could otherwise. Third, we have new skills for career growth. Navigating a foreign corporate culture almost always requires learning new methodologies and industry standards, whether it's learning a new language or mastering a different technical workflow. These skills become permanent part of the worker's professional toolkit, making them incredibly valuable in a global market. Our fourth point is skill development in a broader sense. Beyond technical abilities, working abroad forces a person to develop soft skills that are hard to teach in a classroom. We are talking about adaptability, cross cultural communication, and complex problem solving. These are the traits that top tier international companies look for their leaders. Finally, we must consider the push factors such as limited job opportunities locally. In regions facing high unemployment rates or economic instability, workers often feel they have no choice but to move abroad to find steady employment. In this context, working in a different part of the world is a strategic move to ensure long term survival and professional relevance. Now, let's define what people actually do globally. We often hear the term expatriate or expat. This is an employee who is temporarily or permanently assigned by their company to work in a foreign country. However, being an expat isn't always easy. Interestingly, when expats fail, it's rarely because they lack the technical skills. It's usually due to culture shock or the inability of their family to adjust to the new environment. On the other side, we have overseas or foreign workers. Unlike expats who are sent by a company, these individuals move abroad independently to find work or transition into long-term residency on their own terms. So now let's move on to remote, migrant, and commuter work. The landscape of global work is changing fast. We now see three other major categories. First is virtual remote workers. These professionals work for foreign employers online without ever leaving their home country. And the next one is migrant workers. People who physically move to another country specifically for long-term labor opportunities. And lastly, international commuters. This is a unique group. These are employees who might fly to a foreign office for the work week but return to their home country every weekend to be with their families. Next is types of employees. When we look at it from corporate perspective, we categorize employees into three groups based on their citizenship. A. Parent country nationals. These are citizens of the country where the company is headquartered. For example, a Japanese manager from Toyota working in a US plant. B. Host country nationals. These are local citizens working for a foreign company. For example, a Brazilian marketing specialist working for Ford's office in Sao Paulo. C. Third country nationals. This is the most global category. This is a citizen of one country working in a second country for a company headquartered in a third country. Imagine a French engineer working for a German company like Siemens but based in Shanghai, China. Finally, let's talk about the rules of the game. International labor institutions govern how firms and individuals behave. There are two types. The first one is formal institutions. There are the written laws and regulations enforced by governments. For instance, the strict labor protections you find in Europe are much different than the flexible systems found in Southeast Asia. The next one is informal institutions. There are the unwritten rules, the culture, ethics, and social norms. This influence behavior through shared values and beliefs, and they are often just as powerful as the written laws when doing business abroad. In summary, global work is about more than just travel. It's about navigating different cultures, laws, and professional rules, whether as an expat, a remote worker, or a third country national. Success in international business requires the ability to adapt to both the formal rules and the informal cultural norms of the world. That will be on. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. My name is Charlene Bipicero, and now let's talk about the types of employees in global business. So there are three types. First is the parent country national, next is the host country national, and lastly is the third country national. Parent country national are employees who came from the country where the company's headquarters is located. For example, a Japanese manager working for a company based on Japan. So, gikan siya sa main country. Next is the host country nationals, are employees who are citizens of the countries where the company operates. For example, a Filipino working in a foreign company here in the Philippines. So, local employee lang siya. Next is third country nationals, are the employees from a different country working in another country for a company headquarters someone else. Example, a French employee is working in China for a German company. So, from another country siya nag-base. And now, let's talk about the international labor institutions. So there are the rules that guide how people and businesses behave. So there are two types, the formal and informal institutions. So first, formal institutions are written rules like laws and regulations. These are enforced by the government. Next is the informal institutions, are unwritten rules like cultures, traditions, and social norms. So meaning, dili lang laws ang important but also ang culture and values nga maka-affect sa work. And now, let's move to the benefits and challenges of working globally. So first, higher income because workers can earn stronger currencies. Second, skill development since they learn new technologies and systems. Third, global experience because they are exposed to international standards. And lastly is the networking, where they meet people from different countries. So daghang gyud opportunities when it comes nga magtrabaho ka in abroad. So however, there are also the challenges. So first is a language barrier, which makes communication difficult. Second is culture shock because of different traditions and lifestyle. And the third one is the homesickness, since workers miss their families. And lastly is the adjustment issues like time zones and work styles. So dili siya sayon nga mag-work abroad kay hindi mo siya mag-adjust sa mga imong nga tao, then the environment. And now let's talk about the challenges of working globally. So challenges of working globally refer to the difficult faced by employees and companies when operating in different countries. So these challenges came from differences of cultures, language, laws, and the business practices. So these differences can affect communication, decision making, and overall performance. So in short, kung lahi ang culture o system, mahimo ka nang maglisod ka o kanang apply o maki-cooperate. So, and now let's move to the specific challenges. First is the language barrier can cause misunderstandings in instructions and communications. Next is the cultural misunderstandings may lead to a conflict if people don't respect differences. And the third one is legal and business differences mean companies must follow different laws in each country. And lastly is the adjustment to a new environment can be difficult for employees adapting to new cultures and workplace. And finally, let's talk about the role of technology. Technology can help in many ways. First, it enables remote work, allowing employees to work from anywhere. Second, it supports global communications through digital tools like cell phones and etc. Third, it expands job opportunities worldwide. And the fourth one, it allows virtual teamwork and collaboration. So, because of technology, mas dali na ang global work karon sa ato ang panahon. So to conclude, international business trade creates many opportunities but also bring challenges. So it is important for employees and companies to understand different cultures, adapt to changes, and use technology effectively.
Good day everyone, my name is Ian Priberdahe. So now I will be presenting is about working and doing businesses in different parts of the world. This topic helps us understand how countries like United States, Japan, China, Australia, Singapore, and Canada have different work environment and business systems. Okay, now let's proceed. So the first one is the United States. Ang United States kay isa sa pinaka-powerful or very strong economy nga naay free market. Meaning, dagan kaayo freedom ang businesses to grow. Ang workforce kay diverse ug skilled, ang work culture diri kay focus sa independence, innovation o productivity. Pero competitive kaayo ug mahal ang cost living, especially sa big cities. For example, ani ang isa ka tech worker sa California. So dako og sweldo pero mahal pod ang rent ug ang daily expenses. So the next one is Japan. So ang Japan kay very well known na kani nga country is very disciplined, skilled po ang ilang mga workers, strong ilang economy, ug advanced sa technology. So ang work culture kay na sila respect, teamwork ug loyalty sa company. Pero kasagaran taas og working hours ug naay overtime. So for example is ang isa ka employee sa Japan. So sige siya og overtime gyapon sila sa work bisan naman na ang oras para ipakita ang dedication sa company. So, next one is the North Korea. So, sa North Korea is ang government ang nag-control sa tanan like sa jobs, businesses o sa productions. Wala kaayo freedom ang mga workers, ang mga work culture kay obedience o loyalty sa states, limited ra pod ang technology o trade. For example, government, so sila ang nagabuhat sa imong trabaho o pila ang imong sweldo. The next country is ang South Korea. So, ang South Korea kay advanced kayo sa technology ug naay strong economy. Ang workers kay hardworking ug discipline ug importante ang respect sa boss like hierarchy. Pero stressful ang work ug taas ang working hours. So, let's say for example, ang isa ka office worker so mag-overtime para ma-meet ang target ug ma-impress ang manager. The next one is ang China. So, ang China is dako kayo og work first ug kusog ang economy. Ang work culture kay competitive ug hardworking kayo. Naay cases na taas kayo ang working hours like 996. Ang cost of living is depende sa lugar. Mahal sa cities but barato sa rural areas. So, for example, isa ka worker sa Shanghai is taas kayo og oras sa trabaho pero dako pod ang sweldo. So next is ang Australia. So ang Australia kay balance kayo ang lifestyle nila dere. So ang workers kay protected sa labor laws ug naay good work-life balance. Dili kayo taas ang working hours ug naapay time para sa family. Pero mahal gyapon ang cost of living. So for example, ang isa ka employee so muuli dayon after work o para makaspend time sa family or sa hobbies nila. So the next is the Singapore. Ang Singapore kay gamay nga country pero very strong ang economy o technology. Ang work culture kay fast-paced, discipline o productive. Pero taas kaayo ang cost of living. So for example, ang isa ka worker sa finance or office job, paspas kaayo ang trabaho ug naay pressure niya. Mahal ang ilang rent. So the last one is ang Canada. So ang Canada kay very known sa friendly ug inclusive na work environment na ay good benefits like healthcare ug work protection. Balance ang work ug personal life pero mahal gyapon sa big cities ang imong cost of living. So for example, isa ka employee so naay flexible working hours ug libre ang healthcare. So overall niya is these countries shows that work environment are not the same everywhere. Some countries focus on hard work and long hours like Japan, China, South Korea, while others focus on balance and employee well-being like Australia and Canada. Understanding these different helps people decide where to work or do business successfully. So that's the end of my report. Thank you.
Hey everyone, today I will be talking about working in the United Arab Emirates, also known as the UAE. So the UAE is a desert country, but it is famous for its modern cities such as Dubai. It has developed rapidly and is now one of the most advanced countries in the region. The population is around 10 million people, and most of the workforce consists of expatriates. This makes the UAE a very diverse and multicultural place to work. In terms of government, the country is a monarchy with a strong and diversified economy. It is very business friendly with low taxes which attracts many foreign investors and workers. Working conditions can vary, but there are many opportunities for foreigners. The work culture is generally formal, professional, and focused on businesses. The UAE is also highly advanced in technology, especially in big cities. Its economy is stable, supported by oil but also growing in other industries. However, one challenge is the high cost of living, especially in cities like Dubai. So in conclusion, the UAE offers great career opportunities in a modern and diverse environment, but it can also be expensive to live there. So next, I will be talking about working in the United Kingdom. The United Kingdom is an island nation in Europe, known for its cool and rainy climate. It has a population of around 67 million people with a highly skilled workforce, especially in industries like finance and technology. The UK has a democratic government and mixed economy. Its market is open but regulated, which helps maintain fairness and stability in business. Working conditions in the UK are generally good, but with strong labor laws and a focus on work-life balance. The work culture is professional and punctual, which is important in most workplaces. In terms of technology, the UK is highly advanced and continues to grow in innovation and development. Economically, the country has moderate stability, although it is currently experiencing rising inflation. However, one challenge is the high cost of living, especially in cities like London. So next, I will be presenting a report about working conditions in Dubai. Dubai is located in a desert region, which means it experiences extremely hot weather, especially during the summer. This climate can affect daily life and certain types of jobs, particularly outdoor work. In terms of population, Dubai is unique because most of its workforce is made up of foreign workers, also known as expatriates. This creates a diverse and multicultural working environment. Politically, Dubai is governed under a monarchy. Economically, it follows a capitalist system which supports private businesses and investments. The city is also known for having a very open and business-friendly market, attracting companies and professionals from around the world. When it comes to the working conditions, they are considered mixed. Skilled professionals often enjoy better opportunities and benefits, while lower income workers may face more challenges. The work culture in Dubai is generally fast-paced and competitive. Employees are expected to work efficiently and adapt quickly to high standards. Dubai is also highly advanced in terms of technology, with modern infrastructure and innovation across many industries. In addition, the economy is strong and stable, making it an attractive place for career growth. However, one important factor to consider is the cost of living, which is quite high. Expenses such as housing, transportation, and daily needs can be expensive. So in conclusion, Dubai offers great opportunities, especially for professionals, but it is important to consider both the benefits and challenges before deciding to work there. And next, I will be presenting a report about working conditions in Saudi Arabia. So Saudi Arabia is located in a region that is mostly desert, with a climate that is generally hot and dry. The country is also known for being rich in oil reserves, which play a major role in its economy. In terms of population, Saudi Arabia has around 36 million people. Similar to other Gulf countries, a large portion of the workforce consists of foreign workers, contributing to a diverse labor market. Politically, Saudi Arabia is an absolute monarchy. Its economy is largely oil-based, but it is currently undergoing changes under Vision 2030, a plan aimed at diversifying the economy and reducing dependence on oil. The free market in Saudi Arabia is considered moderate, as the government still plays a strong role in controlling key sectors of the economy. When it comes to working conditions, they are generally structured. Employees may receive strong benefits, but this can vary, especially for foreign workers. The work culture in Saudi Arabia is conservative and hierarchical. There is a strong emphasis on respect, authority, and following established rules within the workplace. In terms of technological advancement, the country is making significant progress. It is investing in artificial intelligence and developing smart cities, such as NUM. Inflation is considered low to moderate. The cost of living in Saudi Arabia is moderate overall, although it can be higher in major cities like Riyadh and Jeddah. So in conclusion, Saudi Arabia offers structured working environments and growing opportunities, especially as the country modernizes. However, cultural differences and variations in working conditions should be carefully considered. And next, I will be presenting a report about working conditions in Germany. So Germany is known for its diverse geography, which includes forests, rivers, and mountain ranges. This natural environment contributes to a high quality of life. The country has a population of around 84 million people and is recognized for having a highly skilled and well-educated workforce. This makes Germany one of the leading countries in terms of productivity and innovation. Politically, Germany operates as a federal parliamentary republic. Its economy follows a social market system, which combines free market capitalism with strong social policies to protect workers. Germany has a highly developed free market, supported by strict regulations and strong worker protections. This ensures fair working conditions across different industries. When it comes to working conditions, Germany is considered excellent. Workers benefit from strong labor laws, good salaries, and a healthy work-life balance. Along with various employment benefits, the work culture in Germany is known for being punctual, structured, and efficiency-focused. Compared to some regions, there is generally less hierarchy, allowing for more collaboration in workplace. So Germany is also highly advanced in technology, especially in engineering and automotive industry. And renewable energy, inflation is generally moderate, although there have been some recent increases within the European Union. However, the cost of living in Germany is relatively high, particularly in major cities such as Berlin, Munich, and Frankfurt. So in conclusion, Germany offers excellent working conditions, strong worker protections, and a high standard of living. It is an attractive destination for skilled professionals, although the cost of living should be taken into consideration. And next, I will be presenting a report about working conditions in India. So India is a geographically diverse country featuring mountains such as the Himalayas as well as plains, deserts, and long coastlines. This diversity influences both lifestyle and economic activities across different regions. India has a population of approximately 1.4 billion people, making it one of the most populous countries in the world. Its workforce is very large, young, and continuously growing, which contributes to its economic potential. Politically, India is a federal parliamentary democracy. Its economy is mixed, combining both public and private sectors, with a strong emphasis on private enterprise. The free market in India is considered partially open. While there have been many economic reforms, some government regulations still remain in place. Working conditions in India vary widely. The formal sector has been improving, offering better wages and benefits, while the informal sector remains large and less regulated. The work culture in India is generally hierarchical, with strong respect for authority. Employees often work long hours, and overtime is quite common in many industries. India is advancing rapidly in technology, particularly in information technology, software development, and space technology. Inflation is typically moderate, averaging around 4 to 6%. The cost of living in India is generally low to moderate. However, living expenses can be significantly higher in major cities such as Mumbai, Delhi, and Bangalore. And lastly is Philippines. So I will be presenting a report about working conditions in the Philippines. The Philippines is an archipelago located in Southeast Asia, consisting of more than 7,000 islands. This geographic setup influenced transportation, trade, and regional development. The country has a population of around 110 million people. Its workforce is relatively young and is well known for being English speaking, which makes it attractive for international businesses. Politically, the Philippines has a democratic government. Its economy is mixed, combining both public and private sectors, and is considered open but still developing. Working conditions in the Philippines can vary. Some workers may experience lower wages and longer working hours, depending on the industry and job type. The work culture in the Philippines is strongly family-oriented. Workers are generally respectful, adaptable, and known for their positive attitude in the workplace. In terms of technological advancement, the country is growing rapidly, especially in the digital sector such as business process outsourcing or BPO and information technology. Economically, the Philippines is a developing country. While there is steady growth, inflation can sometimes be unstable. The cost of living in the Philippines is generally lower compared to developed countries, making it more affordable for many people. So in conclusion, the Philippines offers a young and capable workforce with growing opportunities, especially in the digital economy, and challenges such as varying working conditions and economic stability should also be considered.